If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
In a world where insanity reigns supreme and safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, it's comforting to know an ancient, fat, long-haired, bearded reprobate has your mind in mind. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, and despite every attempt by the SHR Media Network to revoke his shameless contract, we return to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon.
You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Tomo, you magnificent bastard, I read your book. I drink your milkshake.
How dare you?
I call that bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
Fill your hand, you son of a bitch!
Captain.
Captain. Captain. Captain. Captain. Captain.
Captain.
Captain. Captain. Captain.
Captain.
Captain. Captain. Captain.
Captain. Captain.
Captain. Captain. Captain.
No, not yet. Don't pass out on me yet. Of course you realize this means war.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, where I'm broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, spelled with a K, a mere 2 miles east of the locus of evil on the entire left coast, the Bill Mill. The belly of the beast, the Capitol building in downtown Sacramento at 10th and L Streets, where late at night you can hear the death of common sense and its concomitant wail as it wafts from that petrifying edifice. Late at night, when I exit the plush, resplendent, sumptuous, palatial, and effulgently bulbous SHR Media Network studios, I'll be smelling the odoriferous stench of sulfur, brimstone, and evil emanating from that mentally destitute, columned structure aforementioned. Guess what? Back hair Bernadette is gonna be your bartendress tonight. She pours with the best of them. People are calling for her all the time. I think she pours a little heavy. And the lava lamp is, in fact, not lighted because it ain't here right now. It's been replaced by Sackhead Sean with some kind of a salt lamp. And then Sackhead Sean took the lamp and put it next to the cat box for the Bobcat, for Clyde. That's kind of evil. By the way, you can listen and chat at shrmedia.com. You can watch the show on the SHR Media YouTube channel, Facebook page. And I got to tell you this. We don't water our drinks just like we don't water our conversation. Politics, religion, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law. We talk about it all right here at the Saloon. Nothing is sacred. The speech is free, but the booze is not. All we ask is that you flush the toilet, jiggle the handle, and don't forget to tip your waitress. Tonight in the Saloon, it is Thursday, 2/20/20. It'll never be this again, 2/20/20. Tonight, we're going to find out who some people really are. I'm going to cork off on leftist cops, because I had a little tete-a-tete with some people on social media. And I got a lot of happy stories. And of course, one of the other things we're going to do is we're going to laugh like bastards and bastardettes at the ridiculous Democrats. But we have to ask ourselves, of course, who are they? Who are these crazy creatures who occupy our senses these days? Well, today's Thursday. I didn't watch any of the show, the Democrat, they call it a debate. I call it great entertainment. I have to say, looking at it later, and I've got about a 4 to 5 minute summary of what you may have missed if you didn't watch that debate last night. So that's why you come here. You expect me to do my job because you're paying so much money for me right now. By the way, just thought I'd tell you, there's no paywall here. Everything is free. I don't hound you for cash because I do this because this is my hobby and I enjoy it most days. So no money involved, no hounding, no paywall, none of that stuff. So this is me delivering for you. I sent a tweet out to Buzz Patterson. He's running for California Assembly. Big Ass Tuesday is March 3rd. That's when people will vote. All sorts of primaries in California. That's our primary. I already had Eric Regard on the show, and I sent a tweet out to Buzz Patterson, who's also running for California Assembly. He may or may not respond. His only chance is Tuesday of next week or Thursday of next week. But he's in Sacramento, so if he appears, he'll be here in the Saloon. Whether he responds or not, I don't know. But I make this comparison because if you happen to be in California and you're in Assembly District 9, which is, let's see, I'm going to have to put my thinking cap on here. That's South Sacramento, Elk Grove, Galt, and Lodi. Pretty big district. Then you need to vote for Eric Regard. I had him on the show, and this is a little remembrance. This is about 47 seconds.
Over the past 75 years, more than 10,000 chemicals have entered our food supply, but the EU allows just 300 additives. At Thrive Market, we prioritize quality, banning over 1,000 ingredients found in conventional grocery stores. Our Healthy Swap scanner helps you find better versions of your pantry essentials without the junk, dyes, or fillers, and everything is delivered right to your doorstep. So shop at a grocery store that actually cares about your health at thrivemarket.com/getstarted for 30% off your first order and a free $60 gift.
Of why you need to vote for Eric Regard. This guy is it's like the worst possible combination in California. He's a Republican. He's a black Republican. And he's a Christian. Oh, that's a terrible combination, which means you got to go out and vote for this guy, okay?
Hi, my name is Eric Regard, and I'm running for Assembly here in the 9th District in the state of California. I am conservative, I'm Christian, I'm pro-life, I'm also pro-family, and I'm pro-you, the voting public. We've got a primary coming up here on March the 3rd, and I would say get out and vote. But more than that, go to regardforassembly.com, R-I-G-A-R-D, forassembly.com. Learn more about me. You can go there, support, endorse, and more importantly, you can donate to my campaign. I look forward to helping to stop the madness in California and get us back on track with where we need to be.
Because it is madness in California. It is stark, raving madness in California. But this is what blew the camshafts and the skulls. I mean, leftists got trepanned all over the U.S. when this happened this past Sunday. It was grand. It was absolutely grand. They lost their shit.
The Daytona 500 is a legendary display of roaring engines, soaring spirits of the American skill, speed, and power. But NASCAR fans never forget that no matter who wins the race, what matters most is God, family, and country. The cars will take to the track for the start, tires will screech, rubber will burn, fans will scream, and the great American race will begin. For 500 heart-pounding miles, these fierce competitors will chase the checkered flag. To all of the drivers, technicians, and pit crews here today, good luck, and may the best team win.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
The 62nd Daytona 500 is underway.
So what did Trump do? He took a lap in the beast. He took a lap in the beast. How great was that? And the answer is, it was really great. By the way, am I leading up to something similar to, you got to vote red in November? You really do need to vote red in November. And yeah, that's exactly what I'm leading up to. Something just came across the wire very recently, and it was buttressed by my good friend Jeff Dunitz at lidblog.com. This is a wonderful thing. This is something we know, we inherently intuited, but now... Oh, welcome, Dave. Hey, where's my manners? Damn it, Jim. Welcome to Mike in chat. Welcome to Simone in chat. Welcome to Dave Milner in chat. Welcome to one viewer in chat who will not be unmasked. This just came out, and it's the microsecond it came out from Jeff Dunitz at lidblog.com. I hit every piece of social media I possess because you and I, smart, right-thinking individuals, we already intuited this is the truth. Well, the funny thing is, not long after lidblog.com, Jeff Dunitz hit this story, I saw another story from the Washington Examiner. So this is interesting. We'll look and see who's brave enough to pick this up. Jeff Dunitz is. Apparently the Washington Examiner is. But let's see, because this will tell us all we need to know about who is in the tank and who is not. We'll look and see just who it is that doesn't carry this story. And I said, probably right now you're thinking, BZ, intuited, what the heck are you talking about? This is the headline from lidblog.com. Minnesota Somali leader confirms Ilhan Omar did marry her brother. She did what she had to do to keep him in the U.S. And this is just a couple of hours old. Boys and girls, can you say immigration fraud? I knew you could. The Daily Mail. Whoa! Isn't that amazing? Why BZ goes to a bunch of his sources across the pond. This is from the UK Daily Mail. The UK Daily Mail, because the American media maggots here in the United States are not interested in covering this story. Because Ilhan Omar is a threefer. And especially if you're Caucasoid, you can't touch threefers. She's a threefer. She's black, female, and Muslim. Whoa. So, hands off. Well, apparently the Daily Mail doesn't feel that way. apparently the Washington Examiner doesn't feel that way. And I know Jeff Dunitz doesn't feel that way. The Daily Mail spoke to a leader of the Somali community in Minneapolis, a guy by the last name of Osman, whose first name I cannot pronounce. And this guy goes on the record to say Representative Ilhan Omar, Democrat out of Minnesota, her second husband, Ahmed Elmi, was in fact her brother. He says Omar said she wanted to get her brother's papers so he could stay in the United States at a time when she was married to her first husband, Ahmed Hersi. Are you following this a little bit? So at the time, people didn't realize she meant she was going to marry him. And a quote is, "No one knew there had been a wedding until the media turned up the marriage certificate years later." Osman, 40 years old, exclusively told DailyMail.com. Osman's revelations are sure to renew calls for an investigation into the Minnesota freshman's representative's dealings, who has been repeatedly refusing to answer questions on her marriage to Elmi. She originally said she insisted that the idea that the spouses were also siblings were baseless, absurd rumors, accusing journalists of Islamophobia. And the purpose of that accusation is what? That's right, to keep everybody quiet and to shut them up. So far, it appears to be working. But Jeff in the UK Daily Mail, and like I say, I saw the Washington Examiner. It's been about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours since I looked to see who is following up with this story. My guess would be not too many people. Be interesting to see what happens. Oh, I'm going to tell you a little bit about a story about Drudge Report. I sussed out the information about the Drudge Report. Kind of an interesting story about Matt Drudge, because Matt Drudge has changed a lot. Did you watch the debate? Because if you didn't, I did it for you, because that's my job. That's what I do. But I also have some great encapsulatory audio of the debate from last night. And if you remember, this is an historical reference. I'll let you guys figure it out where it comes from. Last night, the debate was the night of the long knives. And there were winners and there were losers. Winners were Donald John Trump, OMB, Orange Man, bad, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head. Winner numero uno. Winner number 2, Pocahontas. Pocahontas came out with fangs last night, dripping blood. Kind of interesting. Still not proving that he can walk and chew gum at the same time. Joe Biden, he's out of here. He really is not doing well. And I don't mean that to be persnickety or accusatory, but he's not fast enough with the rest of these people. If that's due to his age, okay. If it's due to the fact that he just isn't fast enough to keep up with the rest of these folks, okay too. The big loser from last night, loser, was Mike Bloomberg, baby Mikey. And not doing too badly himself, Bernie Sanders. So when everything gets said and done, first in chat, I'm going to be curious. My thinking, and this is early, things are going to change. But tonight I'm going to be talking about some tactics, got some great audio cuts. I'm thinking it appears at this point that even though Bloomberg did poorly, and Simone in chat says, yeah, money can't buy you intelligence. Well, that was really clear last night. Stop right there. Simone, you make a good point. I'm going to play for you audio cuts and stories about Mike Bloomberg and the ridiculous crap that he said just in the past few years. And it's immured in video and audio. And so if you know this stuff is extant, if you know it's there in the ozone, then when you go to a debate, it would seem to me that you should be prepared to address these things. If you're really as smart as you say you are, or as your campaign would intimate, because this is his first actual public appearance in any sort of a debate where he is asked questions, asked kind of softballs, but the responses from the other people on the stage were not softballs. You should be prepared. You should have been massively prepared for that. So to say that it was fierce, yeah, it was fierce. So it was it was interesting. This was from Las Vegas. It was like a show on the Strip. And as I indicated, Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, she got the most blows in, body blow, uppercut. She was not going to be ignored, and she was not going to be denied. And she came right out of the gate hunting Michael Bloomberg. She flattened him, basically using his own words against himself, and just from that point on, dude never recovered. Voters got to see a little bit of the real Warren. She was the front runner when she started last fall. And I submit to you this also. Mike asks, are the phone lines open? Yeah, and you know what? The phone lines are going to be open for the entire show, for the entire 2 hours. So if you folks are interested in calling, if you're watching on YouTube, or if you happen to be watching on the SHR Media Facebook page or the SHR Media YouTube channel, you can see at the bottom the number is down there right now if you happen to be watching. If you're just listening, Simone says, I hate her whiny voice. Yeah. If you want to call in, the number is area code 575. That's Roswell, New Mexico, people, if you're not clued into that. Where's my Roswell music? I should, you see, if I had a producer, I'd be playing this, you know. My number to call in is 575, which is Roswell, New Mexico. A lot of interesting things happened in Roswell. Call 575-208-4481. 575-208-4481. As a matter of fact, oddly enough, not oddly enough, just on account of because, it looks to me like we already have a caller, unidentified caller. Are you there? And please identify yourself, although you don't have to unmask yourself. Are you there?
I will voluntarily unmask myself. It is Mike.
Oh, how do you doing?
You were talking about earlier, what's her name, Omar.
Uh-huh.
And the fact of the matter is, you're not even getting what these two outlets are doing, the Daily Mail and, of course, the Washington Examiner. You're not even getting that story from the local media out of Minnesota, you know?
No, it's funny you should mention that, because for a while, the Strib, they call it the Strib, which is the Star Tribune. And I used to know one of the guys there, and I want to have him on my show. Maybe one day I will. They went after her initially when she started up, and then I'm not sure what happened. But it was about 2 or 3 months after when I I didn't really see any follow-up stories. And you're right, it's right in their backyard. It should be theoretically right in their wheelhouse, and they should be dealing with that. But I don't see too many people doing that. Now, I know you've heard Jeff Dunitz on the show. I've heard Jeff Dunitz.
Oh, yeah.
Great guy. Love to have him on. He's got the guts to do this. But I also find it's very interesting that the people who went sufficiently digging in order to get the story were from the United Kingdom. I found that very interesting.
Interesting. Now, granted, the people from Hot Air do a lot on this story as well, but they're conservatives, or they're out of, most of them are out of Minnesota, and they're conservatives or they're libertarians, and they do a lot of it as well. But yeah, she needs. And look, here's the deal. Before last week, before about a month ago, her opponent, who's named by the name of Stella, Danielle Stella, was making a big deal about it on Twitter. You know, among other things about Omar, was making a big deal about this particular topic on Twitter, and you know what happened? She got kicked off of Twitter for it. Imagine that. Which is an interesting point. I found this contrary. I sent a couple of tweets and some stuff on Facebook. Yes, Facebook, because it holds your fate. And I asked people on Facebook and on Twitter, which social media platform oppresses you more? To me, it's been Facebook. Facebook has, let's see, Facebook has stepped on me now 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Twitter has removed some tweets, or after I've sent something, I've gotten some things back from people who say this tweet is now unavailable. My writing about the tweet wasn't taken down, but the source, the reference that I was pointing to, that's been taken down. So for me, Twitter has not screwed with me, not nearly as much as Facebook has. However, I used to get, and I don't know what you guys are thinking, and I don't know. I know you are on, you're on Facebook too, aren't you, Mike? I'm on both of them.
Okay,
Twitter and Facebook.
You're on Facebook and you're on Twitter. Do you ever get the feeling, Mike, that you are what is that, shadow banned? Because I'm not picking up.
Not me, but my thing is, I got the feeling that I was shadow banned on Twitter at one point.
And there used to be, maybe I'll do it on the break, because I got about 3 more minutes before the break. Okay, during the break, there used to be a website that you could go to see if you are shadow banned, where you would enter your Twitter handle, and it would tell you. I haven't put this up in social media in quite some time. During the break, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Oh, by the way, thanks to Dave Milner. I just see you're in chat. And welcome to Mamba. Thanks for, wow, Mamba, dude, I haven't seen you in chat for quite some time. So good of you to be here tonight. I appreciate it. So during
the official lawyer of Saloon.
Yes. You have a memory. Very nice, Mike. Very nice.
And I made reference to this earlier. You were talking about Sean moving the lava lamp.
Yes.
And I said, look, I said, your shameless. It should be in your shameless contract that nobody touches that thing but you, and the person that should put it there is the official lawyer for the saloon, who should be your official lawyer.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. The electric strip behind me, I think has another plug available.
So next Tuesday, when I come in, I think probably what I'll do is, and you folks, if you're on YouTube right now, or the SHR Media Facebook page, you can look and you can see the candles are on. There's the salt. I guess it's called a salt rock. And the lava lamp is gone. So by next Tuesday, I hope to have the lava lamp repaired. I got a new bulb for it. Okay, I got a new bulb. So I'm going to put that in. Maybe I can have 3 things going all at once here in the saloon. It's going to be great. I can tell. Just you wait. Going to go to a break. When we come back, I'm going to tell you some stories about Bloomy. Billionaire Bloomy. Because, oh, did I just say? No. Oh, Bloomberg. Maybe I shouldn't say Bloomy. Because, maybe that's kind of bad to say. So, when we come back, I'm going to be playing wonderful audio cuts for you about Bloomberg. And a lot of stories about Bernie Sanders. And then I want to talk for a little bit with you. And folks, if you want to call in, it's 575-208-4481 and talk strategy with you as to who you think is going to shake out after all this stuff. So anyway, I'm BZ. This is the Saloon. I don't have any guests tonight. If you call in, you're the guest. So I'll be right back after this brief break from our sponsors. Remember, it's all free.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny, on shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday, live and direct on the SHR Media Network, shrmedia.com. Be there.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we are back, boys and girls. We are back. It is a unique day today, or night, I should say. It's 8:35 on the far left coast. It's 11:35 on the far east coast. And it's 17:44 and 329.723 hours, sub-paragraph 4, Grote Cluster 2, Green Bay 7, Baltimore 0 in Bolivian time. I've never understood Bolivian time. It just seems to be so strange to me. If you're not in chat, but you're listening to the show on Spreaker, or if you're listening in podcast, I said that during the break I would find, there used to be a website that I remember you could go to see if you are shadow banned on Twitter. And I found it. Now I put it in chat, and apparently people are saying that it works. Okay, it's shadowban.eu. Shadowban.eu. So while we were there and I was listening to the promos and whatnot, I went down, I inserted @BZEP because, well, on Twitter, that's me. Number one, it says @BZEP exists. Number two, it says no search suggestion ban. Then it says no search ban. Then it says no ghost ban. Then it says no reply deboosting. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Then below that, it's interesting. It says, Twitter reserves the right to limit distribution or visibility of content. And then underneath that, but in strikeout letters, it says, but Twitter claims that they do not shadow ban. Which is funny as hell. Hey, welcome to Jack. Good to see you here. Got some great stuff about this crazy-ass debate last night. Elizabeth Warren got some great zingers in. She really needed a good performance. This was the Democrat debate Wednesday night, last night, in Las Vegas, Lost Wages. And some people are saying that it hurt Bloomberg so bad that he may not recover. He's spent $400 million of his own cash right now. I remain unconvinced because that cash is going to do a lot of talking. Now, what I have queued up for you is a compilation, and I worked long and hard to get this for you. But this is like the best of the best of the Democrat slash fest. The night of the long knives last night. It's about 5 minutes long, and you may say to yourself, 5 minutes, that's kind of long. Oh no. You're gonna love every minute of this, so here it comes. These are the highlights of the Democrat debate in about, it's 5 minutes and 9 seconds. Take it away, Mr. Producer. Just you wait.
I
like to talk about who we're running against. A billionaire who calls women fat broads and horse-faced lesbians. And no, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about Mayor Bloomberg.
I actually welcomed Mayor Bloomberg to the stage. I thought that he shouldn't be hiding behind his TV ads. I don't think you look at Donald Trump and say, we need someone richer in the White House.
Let's put forward somebody who actually lives and works in a middle-class neighborhood in an industrial Midwestern city. Let's put forward somebody who's actually a Democrat. Look.
One thing that I'm really worried about, embarrassed about, was how it turned out with stop and frisk. It got out of control.
And it's not whether he apologized or not, it's the policy. The policy was abhorrent, and it was, in fact, a violation of every right people have.
I have no tolerance for the kind of behavior that the Me Too movement has exposed. In my foundation, the person that runs it's a woman. 70% of the people there are women.
Oh, really? Really, Mikey? Wait until you hear the audio cuts, the separate audio cuts from this that I have, and the other stories that I'm waiting to regale you with tonight.
In my company, lots and lots of women have big responsibilities. They get paid exactly the same as men.
And I hope you heard what his defense was. I've been nice to some women. Mr. Mayor, are you willing to...
Okay, stop. This is interesting. I couldn't quite see, and maybe you guys know. It looks to me like Mike Bloomberg, who is 5'4", is standing on a box because he's equally as tall as Elizabeth Warren. I think she's about 5'6", 5'7", right around in there. So was Big Mike standing on a box last night?
Release all of those women from those non-disclosure agreements so we can hear their side of the story?
There's agreements between two parties that wanted to keep it quiet, and that's up to them.
We are not going to beat Donald Trump with a man who has who knows how many non-disclosure agreements and the drip, drip, drip of stories of women saying they have been harassed and discriminated against. That's not what we do as Democrats.
I believe in democratic socialism for working people, not billionaires.
Not billionaires. The best-known socialist in the country happens to be a millionaire with 3 houses. What I miss here?
Well, you'll miss that I work in Washington, House 1.
That's the first problem.
Live in Burlington, House 2.
That's good.
And like thousands of other Vermonters, I do have a summer camp. Forgive me for that. Where is your home? Which tax haven do you have your home?
New York City, thank you very much. And I pay all my taxes. And I'm happy to do it because I get something for it.
And Mitch McConnell, I've been the object of his affection and the president's affection. The way he's gone after me, this new Republican Party, after me, after my son, after my family. I don't need to be told I'm a friend of Mitch McConnell's. Mitch McConnell has been the biggest pain in my neck in a long, long time.
And that's
because your son is a pain in your neck.
Maybe it's a time for the working class of this country to have a little bit of power in Washington rather than your billionaire campaign contributors.
Oh. You know, you got to say this for Bernie. He's consistent. He's always been consistent, and he always will be consistent. He's the one-trick pony that you can really depend on.
Look, first of all, I know. And if there are a few people who make ugly remarks, who attack trade union leaders, I disown those people. They are not part of our movement.
But leadership is about what you draw out of people. It's about how you inspire people to act.
I have an idea.
Here's a funny thing. SEIU and also the union in I think it's the Culinary Workers Union have not embraced Bernie Sanders because he wants to remove. When they have a Cadillac plan, he wants to kick them out of that Cadillac plan. You would think that they'd be the first people to rally around Bernie. Not so much.
Of how we can stop sexism on the internet. We could nominate a woman for candidate for President of the United States.
Amy Klobuchar.
really has a slogan that was thought up by his consultants to paper over a thin version of a plan that would leave millions of people unable to afford their health care. It's not a plan, it's a PowerPoint. And Amy's plan is even less. It's like a Post-it note, insert plan here. Bernie...
I'm more of a Microsoft Word guy.
I must say I take personal offense since Post-it notes were invented in my state.
But you're staking your candidacy on your Washington experience. You're on the committee that oversees border security. You're on the committee that does trade. You're literally in part of the committee that's overseeing these things. And we're not able to speak to literally the first thing about the politics of the country to ourselves.
Are you trying to say that I'm dumb, or are you mocking me here, Pete?
Are you mocking me?
I made an error. People sometimes forget names. He's basically saying that I don't have the experience to be president of the United States. I have passed over 100 bills as the lead Democrat since being in the U.S. Senate. I am the one, not you, that has won statewide in congressional district after congressional district.
But let's just be clear. Missing a name all by itself does not indicate that you do not understand what's going on. And I just think this is unfair.
And it was fun from there. What happened is this. Michael Bloomberg's campaign detonated on stage in that debate. His millions in campaign spending kind of went flying out the window Wednesday night. He self-bankrolled his presidential bid. There were body blows left and right and right and left. Bloomberg, since he got in, he's 78 years old. He started to surge in national and state polls. Now, this is an interesting point. And folks, if you want to call in and chat about this, let me know. The number is 575 208-4481, 575-208-4481 if you want to talk tactics. Bloomberg is 78. He got in. He's really surged in the polls, in the national and the state polls. And I don't know about you. I don't know what your watching habits are. I don't watch hardly any ABC, CBS, and NBC. But because last night I had to watch NBC because I was recording the debate to watch later, I came back to watch NBC. And I'll tell you what, every other ad on those three networks is Bloomberg. Bloomberg this, Bloomberg that. So he's throwing around a lot of cash. $400 million is my understanding to this point. It's very interesting, though. Now it's turning out that Mike Bloomberg is taking the hat from Joe Biden and putting it on his own head. So now it's Bloomberg who's starting to be basically the most gaffe-prone Democrat candidate. And that stems, and this comes back to this. The Democrat Party is in trouble. They're in big trouble. Not only couldn't it organize a caucus in Iowa, the party risks repeating that debacle. And if that wasn't enough, okay, the DNC changed the rules to allow former New York Mayor Mike Bloomberg in to take the debate stage, as he did Wednesday night. Now, I'm going to tell you on this show why it is that is occurring. But that's also part and parcel of why I want to examine Mike Bloomberg tonight, and why I also want to examine Bernie Sanders, because they're worth examination. Now, as you well know, I feature Tucker Carlson on the show quite a lot because Tucker Carlson has a unique wit to him. I don't agree with everything that he says, but when he says something with which I tend to agree, he makes a lot of sense. Now, here he is for about 2 minutes or so talking about Mike Bloomberg, Mini Mike, Platform Mike. Maybe I'll start calling him Platform Mike. And he's saying essentially that here we have someone who is buying his way into the DNC. He's buying his way into your heart.
According to new numbers over the weekend, the Democratic primary race is constricting to become really a two-man contest. A lot of people still in the race, but the outline of the future is getting clearer. So on one side, you have a candidate, Bernie Sanders, who wants to turn this country into a comprehensive welfare state. He plans to upend every aspect of American life in order to impose a new economic order. Now, Sanders isn't hiding what he plans to do. He's running on what he plans to do. His main rival is Michael Bloomberg, the former mayor of New York. Bloomberg has shot to above 15% nationally in the polls, from nowhere, essentially. He's suddenly leading the race in the critical Super Tuesday state of Florida. So what is Mike Bloomberg running on? That's a trick question, actually. Bloomberg isn't running on anything. Not because he doesn't have ideas. He's got plenty of ideas, and some of them are far outside the American mainstream. But Bloomberg doesn't think any of that matters. He's not running on ideas. He's not trying to convince voters of anything. He's not making arguments or working to change their minds on policies they care about. He's trying to buy them, and hence the presidency. It's the single most cynical political campaign ever run in this country.
Bingo.
Bloomberg is trying to subvert our democracy with cash, and he's going all in to do it. According to the latest numbers, Bloomberg has spent more than $417 million on advertising so far in this race. His nearest rival, Bernie Sanders, has spent $40 million. That's less than a tenth. Joe Biden, the man they told us was the frontrunner, has spent just $12.3 million. Compare that, let's say it again, to the at least $417 million Bloomberg has pumped into the race, just on advertising. And that's just the beginning. Aides say Bloomberg is...
Well, stop just for a second. That's only in the past couple of weeks. It's not as though Bloomberg was in it from the very beginning. And just in the span of a couple of weeks, he's spent almost $500 million.
He's willing to spend $2 billion of his own money by Election Day, and the number could go higher. Nothing like this has ever happened in America. Bloomberg's spending is like, and pick your metaphor here, a tsunami breaking over our political system. When the waters recede, there's nothing left. It's been flattened and wiped clean by the weight of Mike Bloomberg's wealth. Bloomberg is the tallest figure on the landscape, the only one left upright. That's his plan. He's all but admitted that's his plan. He believes he can win by overwhelming voters with his money. This is a total departure from anything we have seen before in the history of this country.
A very, very salient portion and a very insightful bit about Bloomberg. Well, I said I had some great cuts for you about Michael Bloomberg. And, folks, I'm telling you, the hits just keep on coming.
If you think about it, we, the intelligentsia, people who could make it into this room...
Okay. Understand what he just said. That's Michael Bloomberg speaking to a group of leftists. This is from the Daily Caller News Foundation. And as far as he's concerned, because he's speaking in front of his people, they are the intelligentsia. He only addresses the intelligentsia. Let's play that again.
A lot of things in terms.
Stop. Let's.
If you think about it, we, the intelligentsia, people who could make it into this room, we believe in a lot of things in terms of equality and protecting individual rights that make no sense to the vast bulk of people. They're not opposed to you having some rights, but there's a fundamental disconnect between us believing the rights of the individual come first and the general belief around the world, I think it's fair to say, that the rights of society comes first. And so I don't know how many are familiar with the bathroom issue.
Okay. Did you hear where he said in Europe the rights of the society come first before the rights of the individual? That sticks in his craw.
Issue in the United States? Anybody know what I'm talking about? If you want to know, is somebody a good salesman, give him the job of going to the Midwest.
Okay, stop. He's speaking at the Said Business School. That should give you a big clue as to who his audience is.
And picking a town and selling to that town the concept that some man wearing a dress should be in the locker room with their daughter. If you can sell that, you can sell anything. I mean, they just look at you and they say, what on earth are you talking about?
In his area of intelligentsia, that's normal. Listen to what he says.
Town, the concept that some man wearing a dress should be in the locker room with their daughter. If you can sell that, you can sell anything. I mean, they just look at you and they say, what?
If you disagree with that, you're a bumbling moron fucking redneck.
On earth are you talking about? And you say, well, this person identifies his or her gender as different than what's on their birth certificate. And they say, what do you mean? You're either born this or you're born that. And, you know, I will say in our prison system in New York City, we have to have the policy when you walk in.
So you Midwestern, flyover state, Southern boobs aren't smart enough to understand tranny rights.
You know, drop your trousers, you go this way, you go that way. That's it, because you can't sit there and you can't mix things in a jail. That's a practical case of where you have to make a decision. But it's so many things that we are nuanced, and the issue...
Right, the intelligentsia are nuanced. They're way more nuanced than you are. All they see are gray. And when you make a decision in black and white, you're wrong. You're just wrong. You are not the intelligentsia. You are not nuanced.
The social issues that we're very proud of achieving aren't believed by the vast bulk of the people.
Because you're too stupid to believe that. Well, listen, if you were smart, you wouldn't live in a flyover state anyway. Then, did you hear the one about Mike Bloomberg saying that, hey, it's so sad, black and Latino males, they don't know how to behave in the workplace? That's from a 2011 video. It's, and if you think this is the end, oh no, no. It's not the end. Oh, come on. There we go. Hit the volume.
More controversial remarks surface, just as his rivals are stepping up attacks on the billionaire. The multi-billionaire. This is Outnumbered Overtime. I'm Dega McDowell in for Harris Faulkner. The former New York City mayor facing backlash over his comments from a 2016 discussion at Oxford University, where he appears to be belittling farming and factory jobs as requiring little brain power compared to working in the information economy. Here's what he said.
The agrarian society lasted 3,000 years. And we could teach processes. I could teach anybody, even people in this room, so no offense intended, to be a farmer. It's a process. You dig a hole, you put a seed in, you put dirt on top, add water, up comes the corn. Then we had 300. You could learn that.
Okay, by the way, this is the same area, the Said Business School. So he's continuing to speak to only the finest, the intelligentsia, and that's not you.
Then you have 300 years of the industrial society. You put the piece of metal on the lathe, you turn the crank in the direction of the arrow, and you can have a job.
Okay. So that's what Mike Bloomberg really thinks about you. And isn't that interesting? Here's 21 seconds. This is more specifically what I was looking for.
This cohort of black and Latino males aged, let's say, 16 to 25 that don't have jobs, don't have any prospects, don't know how to find jobs, don't know what their skill sets are, don't know how to behave in the workplace where they have to work collaboratively. This cohort.
Black males don't know how to behave in the workplace. Wow, isn't that interesting? When I come back, the phone will be open. Mike is still on the phone. We'll talk to Mike. He wants to make another point. When I come back after the break, and folks, if you want to call after Mike, 575-208-4481, I'm going to talk to you about something that I bet you're not aware of. Mike Bloomberg has limited his own reporters. Huh? What do you mean by that, BZ? Oh, I have not yet fully begun to cover Mike Bloomberg. I'm BZ, the Bloviating Zeppelin. We'll be right back after this.
For Bloomberg
Conservative media done right.
Bloomberg,
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
This is Shannon Wright of The Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Mike's not here, so I gotta talk fast. You gotta join us. Fall season. Getting ready to start up with a whole bunch of new stuff. News and food and politics and sports and entertainment and a whole bunch of stuff. But wait, Mike's coming. I gotta go. Remember, Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media, Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. Make sure you tune in.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Join me, Jack Alexander, for the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast, as I take a unique outsider's look at the issues affecting the USA. I fearlessly take on the issues that everyone else is too scared to touch. The Jack Alexander Experiment podcast is available wherever good podcasts can be found, like Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcast. The Jack Alexander Experiment, because it's not a matter of left versus right, it's a matter of right versus wrong.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Featuring the effervescent contrarian sackheads Clint, plus the unrestrained bulbosity of BZ, the Sackheads Against Tyranny is a real chat show. Doubling your late-night conservative talk show pleasure with Double the Hosts, you can listen every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Please note, some contents may have settled during shipping. Member FDIC, batteries not included, warranty void in Montenegro.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's 9:04 on the left coast. It's 12:04 on the right coast. As I told Dave, that's due to time dilation. Okay? You can follow me, by the way, on Twitter at BZEP, at BZEP. You can friend, follow, and like the SHR Media Facebook page. And you can subscribe to the SHR Media YouTube channel, click notifications, give our videos a big thumbs up. Got great hosts, got great videos, and great shows. By the way, do you happen to be a supporter of the Second Amendment, like myself? Because without the Second Amendment, you're not going to have a First Amendment, will you? Well, go to the USGOA on Facebook and become a member of that group, the U.S. Gun Owners Association, and you'll find all sorts of cool stuff about keeping you apprised of firearms tests and Second Amendment stuff. And yes, as Dave says in chat, that is great news about Jeff coming back. Excellent. Now, I told you I was going to tell you something that you may not be aware of in terms of Mike Bloomberg's little tete-a-tete that he had recently with his reporters. And it's interesting because CNN buried the lead on this. This is a CNN story, okay? The headline of this from CNN, Mike Bloomberg to Bloomberg News reporters, upset over not being able to probe Democrats. With your paycheck come some restrictions. Buried in there is this specifically. Mike Bloomberg, this is what is truly being said by Mike Bloomberg to his Bloomberg News reporters. You can't just probe Democrats. You ain't writing stories on me because with your paycheck come some restrictions. What do you think the media would have to say if that was Trump? Let's say Trump owned a vast media outlet like Bloomberg News. Well, why not? Why shouldn't we listen to Mike Bloomberg talk about this? Mike.
Said, Mini Mike Bloomberg has instructed his third-rate news organization not to investigate him or any Democrat, but to go after President Trump only. Well, you've got a nickname already. What's your response to what
Well, I don't know that I would accept the nickname. When I started a news business in my company, I hired somebody outside. Their job is to run the news organization. Their job is to set the ethics. I think people have said to me, how can you investigate yourself? And I said, I don't think you can. Mm-hmm. But if you take a look at the Bloomberg News Organization, we carry news from lots of different places, like New York Times and the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Post. There's plenty of ways for people to get news about the candidates if they look at Bloomberg News.
But even your own news reporters have complained. They think it's unfair that they're not allowed to investigate other Democratic candidates because their boss is in the race.
But she doesn't even say to him, and that includes you, Mikey. That includes you as well. This is a very interesting article that I've noticed got derezzed out of a couple of news feeds. This is from GQ.com. And I had, because I saw this story disappear once already. If you're watching on video, I had to print this story out so that I could read it to you tonight in case it disappeared from GQ again. So I have the story here. It's by a person named Laura Bassett. It was published at GQ.com on February 13th. And the title of this is, Why is Bloomberg's long history of egregious sexism getting a pass? Oh, my God. I forgot about Mike. Mike, are you still there, sir?
I am here.
Okay, hit me with your last question then, and I'll go into the story.
Okay, my last question is a theory, and it doesn't have particularly to do with Bloomberg. It has to do with why Joe Biden did not run in 2016. And my theory goes a little bit like this.
Okay.
It wasn't because of the bullshit reason that he gave about his son. Yeah, his son died, but that shouldn't have stopped him from running. The reason why he was running was that clip that came out in 2016 was the clip that came out in 2018 saying, well, son of a bitch, you got fired, talking about that quid pro Joe stuff, you know? Because at that point in 2016, that stuff was fresh on everybody's mind. Well, not fresh on everybody's mind, but it was fresh, in other words. And so it was about ready to come out then, probably. And that's probably why he thought, well, I better not run now because, well, this stuff could come out and hurt me, you know?
That's an interesting point. One final question for you, Mike. Who's going to shake out? Is it, in fact, going to be Bernie and Bloomberg? Or do you think it's going to be Bernie and somebody else?
Well, I think Bloomy is in it for the long haul because he's got the money to be in it for the long haul. So he's not going anywhere. Everybody else, it depends. I mean, look, we know about short stuff, you know, because I looked up both Klobuchar and I looked up Elizabeth Warren. Both of them are 5'8". You know, so they're taller than him.
Oh,
they're taller than Bloomberg.
That's sad. Oh,
yeah.
Sad.
That don't look good. No wonder he wants a box to stand on because, well, you know, and we know how big President Trump is. That's going to be a stark difference if it is him that wins.
You know, though, wouldn't it be glorious? I would love to see Trump debate. Trump may end up debating Bernie. He may end up debating Bloomberg. I'd love to see both. I'd love to see him debate Biden. Oh my God, yes. Or Pocahontas. Okay, I'm going to continue with this story. And thanks, Mike. Appreciate it, sir. This is a continuing story, and folks, if you want to call, it's 575-208-4481. And if that's too long for you, hit me on Facebook. This is by Laura Bassett. Why is Bloomberg's long history of egregious sexism getting a pass? In December 2015, employees at Everytown for Gun Safety, the gun control organization funded by Mike Bloomberg, arrived at work to find a holiday gift on their desks from their employer, the former mayor's 1997 autobiography, Bloomberg by Bloomberg. Flipping through the book, staffers found themselves uncomfortably reading their billionaire founder's boasts about keeping, quote, a girlfriend in every city and other womanizing exploits as a Wall Street up-and-comer. Quote, a few people started immediately going through it and sending the cringe test parts around on email chains, said one former Everytown employee. Hardly the most controversial things he said, but it's still a very bad look. I'm going to halt this just for a second. It looks like Jack is calling. Jack, you there?
Yeah.
What's up, Jack? How are you tonight, sir? Or wait, no, not tonight. It's tonight for me. It's day for you. How are you today, sir?
Well, yeah, it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow for me, but and the winning lottery numbers are not telling.
God dang it! You gotta help me out there. Baby needs a new pair of shoes.
Oh, gee, where do I start with all of this? If Bloomberg picks Hillary as his running mate, and by some miracle wins the election.
Uh-huh.
On the 4th of November, we'll be waking up to the headlines that President-elect Bloomberg will have shot himself in the head 10 times by the .38 caliber six-shot revolver laying next to his body. And it'll be ruled a suicide.
Funny how that works, huh? Yeah.
And as far as the comment that was made over the horse-faced lesbian thing,
yes,
that actually was misquoted from a book, a sort of semi-authorized biography. I forget who the author was, about Michael Bloomberg, and he was talking about the royal family, the British royal family, saying that they're all inbred and nuts. One of them is gay, referring to Prince Edward, who gave up being an officer in the Royal Marines to take up tap dancing and appearing in West End shows, particularly musicals and so on. And we know if you're male and you're in musicals, you must be gay unless you're an Australian by the name of Hugh Jackman.
Wait, that deserves a... That's why I love it when people call.
Let's see. The horse-faced lesbian actually was referring to Prince Charles's sister, Princess Anne, who was a Olympic equestrian. And, yes, got divorced because she spent more time with her horses than she did with her husband, who then went out and had an affair. So that's the horse-faced lesbian thing taken out of the way. The other part of the comment also went on to have a dig at Prince Andrew for breaking up with Koo Stark, who was a softcore porn star, to marry Sarah Ferguson, who was, for the whole time of their marriage, was completely fat-shamed by the British media.
Julia Roberts walks into a room and everybody turns to her and says, why the long face? I've waited 2 years. I've waited 2 years for that joke, Jack.
Yeah, well, the same sort of joke is going around about Princess Anne. You know, that joke has been around for a long time. And even comedians. There was a show called Spitting Image. It was puppets done sort of Muppet style, or not Muppet style, but they were caricatures of British celebrities and royalty and so on. And whenever they did Princess Anne, it was a horse with a hat. They're the same people that did the people that did that were the same people that did the puppets for, since you have done music radio, Phil Collins' Land of Confusion, or Genesis Land of Confusion.
Genesis, there you go.
Yeah. Phil Collins, Genesis, it's pretty much the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, because he was doing solo stuff, he was doing. They're the same people that did that comedy puppet show did the puppets for that as well. So, but I mean, I have to admit that the debate was a slugfest.
It was great. It was great. I loved it.
I think if there was any more blood spilt on that stage, that they'd be reintroducing the gladiatorial arena. Although without Cory Booker in there to play Spartacus, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little lacking. You're right. It is a little lacking.
But yeah, look, I don't care who Donald Trump is going to debate. I said arguing, but who he's going to debate in this, he is going to use their words in such a way that they are going to commit verbal harakiri on stage in those debates up against Trump.
Right. They'll need to find a good second for seppuku.
Yeah.
How come I can't? Okay, Kaiser, call again. For whatever reason, I can't get your... Kaiser, give me a call. I can't get my stupid phone to okay your call. I'm going to try again if you call, because if I can get you on with Jack, that would be great. But this phone, for whatever reason, because I got 2 cell phones right now, and it doesn't seem to be...
You got you one of them Obama phones.
I know. Hey, here's another cut, because I'm going to lead to a cut off of this. I want to remind everybody again, this is what Bloomberg thinks about the people in the Midwest.
People in this room, so no offense intended, to be a farmer. It's a process. You dig a hole, you put a seed in, you put dirt on top, add water, up comes the corn. Then we had 300, you could learn that. Then you have 300 years of the industrial society. You put the piece of metal on the lathe, you turn the crank and the direction of the arrow, and you can have a job. And we created a lot of jobs. 98% of the world worked in agriculture. Today, it's 2% in the United States.
Okay, so...
now comes the information economy. And the information economy is fundamentally different because...
Yeah, it's fundamentally different because they're just better than you are. Kaiser, do I have you on the line? I think I do now.
Yes, you do. How's it going, BZ?
Great. Hey, you're from Ohio. I used to live in Ohio. Ohio is a stupid state, and Bloomberg once said, I'm sure, I don't have it on video, but I'm sure I can find it. What do we need farmers for? I can get everything I want at the supermarket.
Yeah. It just magically appears there. Just like, people don't really hunt. The deer just pops on your silver platter.
Right.
That's what happens.
Right.
That's reality. I mean, in his ivory tower world, it's just, he's a ridiculous human being, and I don't even know why anybody pays him attention except for he's got multi-billions. He's a joke. I think what the more interesting debate will be when Trump dismantles Bernie. But I think Bernie's going to get fucked on this one, BZ. I think they're going to do it to him again. That's why Bloomberg came in and watched little Dyke Hillary come walking up to be his VP.
Okay.
And what Jack said earlier, you saw me post that days ago, where we've had our first black president, our first orange president. We're going to have our first, president to commit suicide in the Oval Office, and then our first female president. That's what's going to happen.
You kind of bigfooted me here a little bit, but it's about time to do this, and I'll make the statement, then I'll throw it open back to you, Kaiser, and you, Jack, because I'd like your comments. Bernie's here for a reason, and then Bloomberg is here for a reason. Now, Bernie and all the Bernie bros and brodettes, they're nothing if not foaming fanatics for Bernie. We know that Bernie got cut off on the knees in 2016. Bernie's got some good numbers. Bernie isn't into the big bucks. But Bloomberg came in because I think essentially just as with 2016, they cut him off at the slats in 2016, but now he's got a real violent locomotive rolling down the tracks. And Bernie's got numbers. And I think Bloomberg is put in there, if for no other reason than to attempt to derail Bernie as best they can. If Bernie is installed, and that's why I'm wondering what the convention is going to be like. People say brokered conventions, bullshit. They just don't happen. I don't know this time. Around because Bloomberg exists solely to save cash for the DNC. Bernie will eliminate PACs. He'll eliminate big money. He'll eliminate huge contributions. And with all that money eliminated goes any amount of influence into the Democrat Party because, as everybody knows, cash is milk and honey to politicians. And the DNC senses that would be a terribly uneven playing field because the GOP wouldn't be going off like that. They don't have the equivalent of a Bernie. So Bernie going in, or a Bernie presidency, he would kick the hell out of cash. So I don't know. I see Bloomberg as a little bit of a multiple billion dollar Hail Mary for the DNC. What do you think, guys?
Well, if you've noticed, they've been saying recreate 68 since Bernie got in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they want to do is recreate. Milwaukee will burn. And they will steal it from Bernie, by the way.
Oh, yes.
But they've been the whole mantle and mantra of the Bernie Bros, as they call themselves, has been, just like the Yang Gang, recreate 68, you know? And that's the reality of it. I mean, did you see the other day a black gentleman had a T-shirt on that said Black Guns Matter at a Bernie event, and some Bernie bro and him got into a fight. The white guy was telling him he wasn't supporting blackness enough. Now, I'm not joking. He was mocking blackness or some crap like that and started a fight.
You can't write that.
What I want to see is what I'd like to see happen is someone who has a metal workshop invite Bloomberg down, and then put him in front of a lathe and hand him a tool and said, "There you go. If I'm so fucking stupid, you know, you should be able to. If you're so smart, you should be able to do this." And just hand him the tools and embarrass the fuck out of him. But part of me, there's a part of me that sort of goes back to my times in special forces in the military, and I'm playing sort of red team, blue team in my mind in all of this on what could happen in all of this.
Okay.
And given Bloomberg's anti-gun stance, you know, and the millions of dollars he funnels into things, you know, into the Mothers Against Guns and all of that horseshit. I forget the name of the organization, but common sense, you know, supposed common sense gun laws and stuff. Now, we already know that there is a radical element amongst Bernie supporters who want to commit violence if he doesn't get the job. Now, the fact that Bernie doesn't see himself being set up for another lesson in socialism like he got last time around with Hillary Clinton, where he was delegate rich, so they took, you know, those extra delegates and gave them to someone delegate poor, Hillary Clinton. It was a lesson in a lesson in practical socialism.
Yes, it was.
He still doesn't see it. But think of it from the point of view. We have a radical element of Bernie Brown shirts who have openly said that they are going to commit acts of armed domestic violence if Bernie's not put into place. What better platform does Bloomberg have on the minuscule chance that he got elected to use that to unify enough states to get rid of the Second Amendment?
That's an
interesting. Well, here's the thing. That's why I brought up. They've been saying recreate 68. I don't know if you would have been an adult at that time. I was still a young kid.
Yeah, I was.
I know what happened. You know, I read history. I know what happened in 68.
Yeah. In Chicago during the election.
Yeah.
And
the race
so
riot.
that's the whole point well, it wasn't just a race riot, it was a political melee. And it was at the Democratic Convention. It wasn't about race, it was about politics. And that's what they mean by recreate 68. And that was not a race riot. That was absolutely about the politics of the time. And what they're going to do, anyway, any of them get on, they are throwing up somebody just like they did back in McGovern's time. That's exactly what they are recreating, the Democrats are. Their field is so piss poor and so non-drawing, we're going to get another contender like a McGovern. The only thing that I think about this entire thing is the debate between communism and capitalism between Trump and Bernie. That's a needed debate because we haven't had that since the 80s. And that's just my opinion on that.
I think that'd be great. Here's something very interesting that you guys may or may not know about me. I was a massive raving leftist. Okay, I've got long hair and a beard right now. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, my hair was blonde red and my beard was really red. I worked on the McGovern campaign, folks. That was me there working for McGovern. Just thought I'd tell you. This is interesting, though, and the Bernie bros. So what you're saying, Kaiser, is that if Bernie, for whatever reason, gets shot down again somehow, and the DNC, I don't know, pulls some kind of a weird-ass rule out of their butt, you're saying, and you're not just intimating, you're saying that people are saying that the response to that will not just be, oh, we're just going to stay home. You're saying the response to that will be outright violence. Is that correct?
Yeah, outright street violence. They've been pushing. That's why it's Recreate 68 since they said not again. And they'll Recreate 68. And look, I will say this. You and I both know, Bernie until recently, I think it wasn't even last election cycle, was still, he got a pretty decent rating from the NRA. He was never been anti-gun because he was a Vermonter, and Vermont's live free or die state. Even though he's from the Bronx, but that's where he's been, and he's an independent. He's never been liked by the Democrats. I mean, these are just facts. And then he jumped on this anti-gun thing. Bloomberg, he's always been an anti-gun POS.
Yep.
And so anyway, I don't think an anti-gunner, even with the political wins as they sell every once in a while, will ever be elected president in my lifetime. But if we don't start having these debates, the youth won't start having reasoned discussions like we were lucky enough to have, you and I, BZ, because we both, well, I don't know about you, but I was a raving leftist until I went over and saw the Berlin Wall.
Oh.
I think we all were raving leftists when we were younger.
Yeah. We got smarter. We just got smarter. Folks, I'm BZ, the Bloviating Zeppelin. We're talking to Kaiser Schuff. We're also talking to Jack Alexander. Both of these guys have great shows. After I do a little bit of a break here, and I'm not going to do the full promo. As a matter of fact, I've got a new promo for me to play right now. It's only about 30 seconds or so we're not going to do a big promo. When I come back, though, I want to ask both Jack and Kaiser about violence, because if we go to a convention and we make it 68 again, my question to them after the brief break here is, okay, then what happens when Donald John Trump gets elected?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you're listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show here on the SHR Media Network. Jump into our sumptuous and palatial chat room right now at shrmedia.com. Call us when the phone lines are open. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California and working without a net. You're in the saloon.
So, Jack and Kaiser, let me ask you that question. Leftists basically have promised violence. So what do you think, both of you guys, what do you think happens when Donald John Trump gets elected and it's a brand new day again for a second term on November 4th? What do you think?
Well, I think if the administration is smart, they start running ads now that, look, if you don't like the outcome of the decision, you are allowed to scream your tits off from every street corner. The moment it gets violent, though, we are going to send law enforcement into crackheads. That is the message I think the administration needs to start sending out now, that any sort of violence and criminality, raping, looting, pillaging, plundering, that the left likes to do whenever an argument doesn't go their way, that they need to make it very clear that there are going to be consequences for that sort of behavior. I have no doubt that Donald Trump will get reelected. My big fear is 2024.
Okay, hold that thought. Kaiser, let me go to you. What do you think about the day after the election and Trump wins? Then I want to go back to that thought, Jack.
I know. Yeah, the entire thing is it's being held in Milwaukee, as Democrat parties usually do hold their stuff in safe cities.
Mm-hmm.
And just like in 68, the police did nothing. The police will be told not to do anything on that one,
Exactly.
too. We've seen it numerous times.
Exactly.
That the police are told not to do anything, and the town will burn. And then after the election, you'll see pretty much what you saw after the first election. You know, somebody swinging off a tower, resist, and if we don't lock down both the Senate and Congress, then we're going to be in for another 4 years of impeachment and investigations, the entire 4 years. In 2 years of them having Congress, once they didn't get the result they wanted from Mueller, they went straight for impeachment, even though they know that just destroyed their chances in Congress. And so a reasoned and rational debate needs to happen during this election season. But I don't think we're going to get it from the left.
Well, yeah. Do they have the capacity, the capability to do that? And I submit they can't. They cannot help themselves. They are like dope fiends. They are mainlining Trump, and he's killing them. Trump is the opioid to the Democrats these days, and they need their fix, and nothing is working. Absolutely nothing is working. Jack, you brought up a very interesting question. I want to ask you, and I want to ask also Kaiser. I think it's pretty clear to me that Trump will be back in 2020. He's going to be a second term. 2-term presidents, there you go. But the biggest question now, then, is, because everything is cyclical, we all know it, 2024, who's waiting in the wings on the GOP side or the conservative side in 2024? Do you see anybody? I'm not seeing anybody.
No, I have a couple of good ideas on who should run.
Okay.
And both of them are current veterans, disabled veterans who are serving in the Congress. And I think they're pretty much freshmen. Dan Crenshaw from Texas.
Oh, I forgot about Dan. Oh, Dan would be brilliant. Good point. I had forgotten about him.
And the other one is an Army veteran from the state of Florida, Brian Mast.
No, I'm not familiar with him.
He recently went into the floor with basically a set of shorts made out of his suit to show off his prosthetic legs, to basically rub the noses of the Democrats in the cost of the freedom that they have to pull this shit with the impeachment and stuff. He has come up, and I think that would be to me anyone led by a team with Crenshaw in it would be good. But yeah, my biggest fear is there is just not someone on the GOP side that has the personality, that has the persona, that has the balls to follow Donald Trump in such a way. I see all these people, and I've had the people that have called into my show, they're going on, it should be Don Jr., then Eric, then Ivanka.
No.
And so I've always said no. The founding fathers, as I understand it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, never intended the presidency to be a hereditary title.
No.
Just because George Sr. was president was no reason, and I argued against George Jr. running and Jeb running, and, there are other Bushes in the wings. And I've always said, one of the things the GOP needs desperately is to take itself off to a beauty salon and get a XXX Brazilian and remove all traces of Bush.
Oh, God, yes.
But,
oh, God.
But on the other hand, the same thing goes with the Democrats that we don't need Michelle Obama, we don't need Hillary Clinton or Chelsea Clinton and all these others trying to build these familial dynasties. If we wanted to, if people want to live under these familial dynasties, move the hell to North Korea, under Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
Well, here's where I'll differ with you on that. Rand Paul definitely has the gravitas and the balls to step up to bat, because DJT, what he did do as president is he's taught the Republicans how to win. You go back at them. You don't deny things. You double down and verify. You say, of course, who cares?
Yeah.
I hope he before Roger Stone spends one day in jail, he makes sure that he pardons him completely. What he did with Blagojevich,
that dude,
the old Chicago governor. I know it's a tongue twister for me too.
I know.
But what he did with him, it was funny to hear. He goes, "I became a Trumpocrat," and there's a lot of them now. And you could see all the faces, the myriad of faces by Blagojevich, and they were all nodding their head. Yeah, Trumpocrat. The black guys and girls are even saying that. So there is a movement even within the Democrat Party because they see their parties being stolen. Now, besides Rand Paul, Ted Cruz has been up in everybody's face. And here's the black cat that nobody's looking at.
I'm sorry, Ted Cruz isn't eligible.
That's up to debate. We can figure that out. We can figure that out in 2024. We can figure that out in 2024. My point, as we're discussing this, is the black horse. There's one from Ohio, a congressman. He's been doing outstanding stuff.
Who's that?
And you know who I'm talking about. I'm mind dumping his name now, and it'll come to me. And then the other one is Devin Nunes. I think Devin Nunes, after another 4 years, will have the seasoning going. And he's from, the Congress, too. I would like to see a double dose. What the hell's his name? Jim Jordan from Ohio.
Oh,
those two would be an outstanding ticket. Well, see, I'm trying to avoid what the GOP's been doing and what you're pushing right now. And, Yak, you just don't understand our politics in the way that I do. And what I do know about it is there was a pushback in the Republican Party because of the neocons, and what you're seeing is a pushback in the Democrat Party against the neo-progressives. That's the whole problem with this fucking system we have of two parties. So that's why I'm saying we can have the other debates as we go on to 2024. But right now, we need to identify people that aren't in neocon land. And the Democrats should have been having this in 2016, and they didn't. And like you said, unless we start having these debates and we start doing it as after this election season, we will be fucked come 2024.
Let me ask you guys.
I agree with you on that.
Let me ask you guys this question then, because Kaiser, you brought up an interesting point which led to this question. With all that's going on, are we going to potentially see the Democrat Party go the way of the Whigs? In other words, is the far left Democrat socialists going to end up destroying the Democrat Party? Is there any moderation left in the Democrats, or is that the way they're going? Or are the people that are far left going to separate from the Democrat Party and create their own, I don't know, call it a rolling donut party, whatever it is? Are we witnessing the last fetid little pulsing breath of the Democrat Party?
I wouldn't say so. What I would say is they've already been divided. They have the neo-progs, which are the progressives like Hillary and whatnot, et al. And then you have the leftists like the socialists. I do believe that they're going to start taking the socialist candidates more seriously. And unless they get rid of the Gang of Four that they have in Congress, and start. That'll be the first thing that if you see there's a movement to get Ocasio-Cortez out in her own district.
Oh,
and then
she hasn't done
shit from Michigan. Yeah, and then what's her name from Michigan? Can't think of it right now. She's Rashida Tlaib.
Oh yeah.
She's being gone after by a Iraqi from Detroit. So you're going to see a change, but I want to see the bellwethers, and I want to see more prosecutions of the people we know who the deep state was. We identified them, and they still haven't been prosecuted. That will show us that we're going after the neocons and the neoprogs instantly, because it's been the problem with it, and I've said it forever, and you know this, BZ. Our two-party system became two heads feeding the same snake body of the neocons and neoprogs. They will push the same shit year after year, presidency after presidency, through the use of unelected bureaucrats. And that's just a fact. And you know this too. All right, I'll let Jack go on, brother.
Jack, what do you think?
Look, I think after this election, the Democrat Party of JFK will be forever dead, buried, and stinking like a dead skunk on the side of the interstate. One thing I've noticed, and I don't know whether this is just because I'm out on the outside looking in, that there is a massive movement on the radical socialist left to run candidates against old-time Democrats in safe seats. They're not trying to get control of the House of Representatives by running against Republicans, because they're not going to. They want control of the Democrat Party. And seriously, if your name's Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer or Adam Schiff or so on, I would be watching my back for anyone associated with the squad, because they have it in for you, and you've got idiots like Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks,
oh God,
helping to push this.
What a bozo!
But he's one of the ones that is pushing this. They want control of the party to give this idea of new socialism that AOC and these others are pushing legitimacy. At the moment, they're seen as the radical fringe. So they're trying to take over the party, and that's why I'm not so much worried about this next election, because I'm convinced that the Republicans will have control of the House, they'll have control of the Senate, and they'll have the presidency. And it'll give the president at least 2 years, providing they don't then stab President Trump in the back. But I really think that after the impeachment and all of this, the president will have 2 years to push his agenda up until the midterm elections, when those Democrats that have lost big time because of all of the infighting are now running new candidates, and they are going to be these hardcore progressive leftists like AOC that believe feelings matter more than facts, and so on. But the Democrat Party of JFK is dead. The Democrat Party no longer supports America. The Democrat Party hates everything that JFK actually stood for. They've embraced, they've embraced everything that JFK fought against. Yes, okay, he was banging Marilyn Monroe in the White House when his brother Bobby wasn't doing it, and all this sort of crazy stuff. Look, but at least the Democrats of that era were very much in the mind of America, America, fuck yeah. And that was the one thing that they agreed with Republicans. America first always. And now we're seeing this progression of people running. How do we fuck over American greatness as fast as possible? I mean, the one thing I noticed from the debate, there was one American flag on stage, and then they removed it in case it might offend a voter. So, it's messed. That's how I think it's going.
It's a sad situation like that. I have 3 stories. In other words, what you're saying basically, Jack, is that there are no more John Kennedys, there are no more JFKs going to be let through the door, there are no more Joe Liebermans that are going to be let through the door. Those people are not going to exist anymore. I'm going to go back to...
Exactly. I mean, you look at Kennedy was a strong proponent of the Second Amendment. There is no way that any Democrat who supports the Second Amendment in any way, shape, or form is going to be allowed to run for office.
Okay, so that brings me back to my original statement. Have we seen the end of the Democrat Party? Or is it simply going to be hijacked? Is it just going to be hijacked? It'll have the name, but it will resemble nothing like what it was.
I don't think it's going to be hijacked. I think it already has been hijacked.
Yeah, you've already seen that. That's what Jack was speaking about back in 2018 when the squad got into Congress. That's been done. Cenk Uygur was one of the people that orchestrated Ocasio-Cortez. She's nothing more than an actress following a script. But the idiots like Omar, like the idiots like Omar and Tlaib and that Pashwali Walla, whatever her Indian ass name is that I can't pronounce and I don't really care to, they're all straight up Marxists. And so what you're seeing with the Democratic Party, I agree with Jack and I agree with you. The Democrat Party of the JFK era, unfortunately, the baby boomers, thank God for a lot of the good ones like you, BZ, the leftists are still alive and they still dream the Democrat Party is exactly what JFK was. They still live in this fantasy. I live next to one. And the distemper that we have in our politics started under Obama. And we can also point to, when you talk about globalism, it started under Bush Sr. People forget. Reagan was trying to do away with the Fed Reserve. And when that happened, that's when Hinckley, who's his family has always been friends with the Bushes. See, a lot of people don't. And then, have you ever heard of an assassin other than John Hinckley, who's been allowed to go see mommy on the weekend? And then finally gets pretty much the freedom to leave whenever he wants. You see what I'm saying? So this party has been corrupted for quite a while. And their party has been corrupted since the death of Kennedy. So I see a nuance there, and that's when I said there's a split. The neo-progs and neoconservatives are, in and of themselves, a party. They will work to further their internationalist, globalist dreams. And then you have on the right and the left, you have the Trumpsters and then the communists. The people who want to live the American dream, to make America great again. And then you still have the neocons that are like, wait, no, we got to go with this new world order. These 1,000 points of light, as Bush Sr. spoke about right after the Gulf War.
Let me make a point here, and then I'd like both of your inputs into this, because I find this interesting. It's turned around in the course of a day. Now, I believe that Mike Bloomberg was asked, or he felt it was going to be incumbent upon himself to step in because the DNC could not, they can't have a Bernie Sanders taking the reign and killing their cash cow. That can't be allowed to happen. And yet in the span of a day, in the span of the first debate, we've got these 3 articles that I'm going to mention to you guys right now. This is from The Hill. The headline is, Van Jones compares Bloomberg to the Titanic, Warren to the iceberg. Well, they're killing Bloomberg. Here's the second article. This is from CNBC. Mike Bloomberg takes a beating at Democratic debate as Elizabeth Warren leads the attack. Here's another one. This is from the Daily Beast. This is a great headline. I wish I'd written this one. Bloomberg spent hundreds of millions of dollars to get his ass kicked. Subtitled, That's Gotta Hurt. So if Bloomberg, Jack and Kaiser, if Bloomberg is the savior from Bernie Sanders, he's not doing much saving. Or is it simply because he's going to steamroller everyone's ass with his cash?
I still think that there is an element of scorched earth policy going on here to bring about a brokered convention for Hillary. Bloomberg, I don't think, no matter how much cash he threw at it, and look, Bloomberg, for all of his faults, is a savvy businessman. There is no way he would be throwing $500 million, or what's he saying, he's going to spend up to like $2 billion of his own cash unless he's getting a payout out of it. So sabotaging Bernie and all these other candidates for Hillary is a payout. I mean, Hillary has managed to get away with some horrendous amounts of money. So, this whole idea, could still lead into... There are still far too many people in the Democrat Party that owe Hillary Clinton way too many people, or way too much for their careers and so on. So I personally think that this is a plan, and Bloomberg is being used as a tool to sabotage everyone else and sabotage the running for the lead up to the convention.
Historically speaking, we have not really seen brokered conventions. So, Jack, clearly you're saying there is going to be a brokered convention, shit is going to fall apart, and you believe Hillary is going to waltz in from the wings. Kaiser, your response.
Yeah, my 2 cents are exactly. I'm in agreement with both of you in a lot of ways on this. I think Bloomberg, because we know he's a globalist. Remember, he was a Republican that became a Democrat.
Yes, he was.
He is a very petulant little bitch boy, globalist. And what he did was, at one time, Times Square, there's only so much on that island in New York City, we like to call it, right? And he wanted to close down everything around Times Square and just have it a walking park. And that would have shut down the city's heartbeat. If you've ever been to New York, which I'm sure both of you have at some point in your life. But since they didn't allow him to, he fucked it all up with bike paths and everything else, screwing up the entire flow of it, and it really has caused many problems. Thanks, Mike Bloomberg. And also he's a nanny state guy. Can't have too many sodas. You can only buy them at 16 ounces a pop. That kind of bullshit. He's a globalist piece of shit. So is Hillary. And I am in agreement. I've been saying this since she lost the last time. She will find a way to run again. And she's just as petulant a little cunt as he is. And so this will be an outstanding election. And it'll be an outstanding election just to view and watch.
Oh, it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be biblical. It'll be an epic in terms of entertainment.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. They're not even having real debates now because they know they can't. If they let these debates get too real, they'll eat each other.
None of them were real debates. I mean, there wasn't a debate question amongst them. There wasn't a real issue discussed amongst them. When they talk about immigration, it's how we can legalize as many illegals to vote as possible and make it easier for illegals. I'm still waiting for someone on either side to propose a plan that will make it easier for law-abiding people to immigrate to the United States. No one wants to cover that. They keep talking about crime reform, and they just keep talking about lenient sentencing, diversion plans. Yet when diversion plans are used, those very same diversion plans are responsible for some of the biggest police school shootings in the country. Because he was put onto a diversion plan. No, you should have locked the son of a bitch up and we wouldn't have had these school shootings.
That's exactly what Andrew Pollack said. I had Andrew Pollack on the show. If you listened, Andrew Pollack said 50% of the blame for the murder of my daughter is, and he refused to name the guy, the suspect, inmate number 188254.
I don't name them. When I'm doing my show, I don't name them. I refuse to give them immortality.
Yeah, and he said 50% of the blame, the other 50%, belongs on the school district and the Broward County Sheriff's Department for grooming this guy to be a mass murderer. He was groomed.
Well, not just that. 100% of every mass shooting we've had in America, there is one thing, and I think you were still working as a Fed when I was, BZ. I can't remember. We were talking about that one night. The statistics back then with shooting, and it hasn't changed, because I still have bros that are working there. All of them have been on some sort of SSRI, and that's something we haven't had a chat about. Parents don't want to be parents now, and so they get their kids doped up and fueled up on that shit, and it continues on into their adulthood.
Well,
they even push it on adults.
That's also the that's the pussification of America. Women wanting to turn boys into little girls, just like the mother who was a doctor, a leftist doctor in Texas, wanted to turn her 7-year-old son into a little girl named Luna because she didn't have a little girl, and she decided she was going to go ahead and do that. Wow. Okay, 2 hours gone. Go ahead, Jack.
Yep. I mean, when it comes down to it, the way the Democrat Party has gone, it is now completely not just morally bankrupt, but I mean the levels of evil and depravity that the Democrat Party now stand for. You've got abortion up until the time of birth. Then
past birth.
Past birth, and they're trying to push that way on. I'm sure there are times that given how much of a shit I was as a kid growing up, that even at 53 years of age, my parents would like to see me, maybe aborted at this point in time. But
that's not funny.
But then you've got those people who are influenced by Cenk Uygur, or Uyghur, or however you pronounce that dipshit's name, who want to legalize sex with animals. And Bernie actually came out quoting one of Cenk Uygur's Young Turks things, where he said that animal sex should be decriminalized. They're trying to decriminalize pedophilia. They're wanting to teach preschoolers how to use a condom. The moral, the way they are just disturbing, trying to destroy the moral foundation of this country to everything that is sick and depraved is just absolutely. This is what the Democrat Party now stand for. It is the party of the sick and depraved.
I want to leave you two guys with this. Go ahead.
The moral fiber of this country has been on its way down for at least as long as I've been alive. Since the day I took my first breath coming out of my mother's hoo-ha. And, I've watched it, but it really didn't get close. And then it started getting close. And I like I said, that 1,000 points of light speech, that New World Order, all that crap, it's not necessarily conspiracy theory. If you can prove that they've actually achieved their goals, it's an actual conspiracy. It's fact.
Jack, thanks for being here. Kaiser, thank you for being here. I appreciate your calls. I want to leave you two with a brand new story. And this story comes out of California. Spell it with a K. Here's the lead. Here's the headline. California, spell it with a K, changes wording from at risk to at promise youth to help disadvantaged students. I'm not making this up. California's Democrat lawmakers are giving themselves an A+ after successfully swapping out the phrase at-risk youth with at-promise youth in the state's education and penal codes as part of an effort to level the playing field between the haves and the have-nots. Here's the call. 911 emergency. What's your emergency? Hi, I have an at-promise youth who's knocking on my door with a gun. Can you get here, please? That's the future of California. Thanks, Kaiser. Thanks, Jack. I appreciate your time being here.
You're welcome.
Once again, saying, you can't write this shit. This is me to you, folks. You can't write this shit.
Monsieur has been locked!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct, right here on the SHR Media Network. If you want to contact me, you can find me at Twitter, at BZEP, B-Z-E-P, and on my blog at bloviatingzeppelin.net. Promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works and also by Pratt & Whitney Engines. Thrust. You can trust. Tiaras are by My Little Pony. Thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team with whom I will be consorting in less than an hour. Thanks to Mike for his call. Thanks to Kaiser for his call. Thanks to Jack for his call. Thanks to you, folks, for listening today, for listening live. Thanks for everybody in the chat room today. Thanks to everybody who listens in podcast. Not everybody is a late-night individual. Thanks to the American Trucker. You make America move. I appreciate each and every one of you folks for taking the time out of your busy day if you're on podcast, or night if you're listening live. Folks, you have a great weekend. I have a suggestion. Let's do this all again on Tuesday night. God bless. Take care. Be safe.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children.
Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.
Now you know the rest of the story.
That's all, folks.